I used to work in a hotel. A small, tucked-away place off Highway 38. It wasn't a chain, just an old roadside inn with a rusted sign and a lobby that always smelled like dust and warm linen. There were only 11 rooms. The kind of place people stop at when they're too tired to drive but too stubborn to turn back. No one stayed long. That's what made room 6 so strange. He checked in on a Tuesday. Tall. Quiet. No bags. Paid cash. Said his name was Mr. Hollis. Didn't ask about the Wi-Fi, didn't want the breakfast. Just room 6, if it was available. It was. He signed the logbook with a hand that trembled ever so slightly. Then he took the key, nodded once, and went upstairs. That was 11 days ago. And he never came back down. The cleaning staff said his bed was made every morning. Trash emptied. Lights off. Just like a room no one had used. But the front desk log showed the key never left the slot. The red light on the door stayed lit. Occupied. I knocked. No answer. Called the room. No voicemail. Eventually I went up myself, master key in hand, and tried the door. Locked. But the light was off. I knocked again, louder. Nothing. Then I slid the key in and turned. The door opened into darkness. It didn't smell like a hotel room. It smelled dry. Not old or musty. Just parched. Like a place where no air had moved for a very long time. The curtains were drawn. The bed was neatly made. Nothing disturbed. Except the clock. It blinked 3:14 a.m. Constantly. Unmoving. No matter how many times I unplugged it. That night, I dreamed I was back in that room. Only this time, the door closed behind me. And someone knocked from the inside of the closet. I didn't open the closet the next morning. Couldn't. I just reset the keycard and locked the room from the outside. We left a note under the door, please contact the front desk. No answer. No sound. The cleaning lady said she saw a shape behind the curtain once. Like someone was standing very still, just out of reach. We considered calling the police. But we had no legal reason. He paid. He hadn't broken any laws. He was just, still there. On day 15, the power in room 6 failed. Only that room. All others were fine. When maintenance went to check the breaker, they found the wires had been cut. Not chewed. Not burned. Cut. Cleanly. With purpose. Like someone wanted the room to be quiet. The next night, I was alone in the lobby. It was slow. Raining. I pulled the logbook from under the desk. Mr. Hollis's name was still there. Same shaky signature. Same blank space for checkout. But something was wrong. The entries after his were gone. Vanished. All of them. Like no one had checked in after him. But they had. I remembered them. I remembered every face, every name. Even the woman with the 3-legged dog. They were gone. Like room 6 had swallowed the memory of them. I went upstairs. Key in hand. Room 6. I knocked. 3 soft taps. This time, the door opened on its own. Inside was not the room I knew. It was the same dimensions. Same carpet. But the wallpaper had peeled away to reveal concrete. The mirror above the sink was cracked. And the bed was gone. In its place, a staircase. Descending. Not steep. But long. Lit by a single naked bulb every 10 feet or so. I should have called someone. I should have run. Instead, I stepped inside. The door closed behind me. The stairs went down for a long time. No turns. No breaks. Eventually, I reached the bottom. The air was dry and cool, like a cave. Before me was a hallway lined with doors. Each one labeled with a number. But they weren't hotel room numbers. They were dates. March 11, 2004. August 2, 1987. November 19, 2023. Each one a different day. I opened one. Inside was a bedroom. My childhood bedroom. Perfectly preserved. Down to the lamp that never worked. There was no one inside. Just the room. And a clock. Blinking. 3:14 a.m. I opened another door. This time, a hospital room. Someone was asleep in the bed. My mother. Only she'd been dead for 8 years. I turned to leave, but her eyes opened. Slowly. And she said, "You're early. Room 6 isn't ready." I ran. Back down the hall. Back to the stairs. But the stairs weren't there. Only another hallway. More doors. Dates I hadn't lived yet. Names I didn't recognize. Memories I hadn't made. But all of them felt familiar. Like dreams you forget as soon as you wake up. There was a receptionist at the end of the hall. Old. Wearing the same uniform I wore upstairs. He looked up. Smiled. And said, "Mr. Hollis will see you now." He pointed to the last door. Room 6. No number. No date. Just a brass handle. I opened it. Inside was the hotel room. Neat. Quiet. Lamp flickering. Mr. Hollis sat on the edge of the bed, back straight, hands folded. He looked up at me. And said, "Took you long enough." Then he lay back. Closed his eyes. And vanished. When I woke up, I was in the lobby. Rain tapping the windows. The logbook open. My name written in his place. Room 6. Still occupied. Clock blinking. 3:14 a.m. Story number 2. The first time the train stopped, I assumed it was just part of the trip. I was commuting home. Same route as always. Late evening train, half empty, windows fogged from the rain outside. I had my headphones in. Same playlist. Same dull ache behind my eyes. Then the train slowed. Not suddenly, more like a sigh. It came to a soft stop in the middle of the tunnel. That wasn't unusual. Delays happen. Maintenance checks. I took out one earbud, waiting for the announcement. None came. No voice. No chime. Just silence. I looked around. I was alone. The car had people when I boarded. I remembered that. But now, every seat was empty. I stood up. Looked into the next car. Also empty. I walked down the aisle, carriage by carriage. No one. Not the woman with the pink umbrella. Not the old man in the gray scarf who always sat by the rear door. No driver. No staff. Just me. And the hum of electricity. I sat back down. Maybe the others had gotten off. Maybe I'd fallen asleep and missed something. I checked my phone. No signal. The time read 3:14 a.m. That wasn't possible. It was just past 8 o'clock when I boarded. Outside the window, darkness. The tunnel stretched forever. No movement. No lights. Just stone and shadow. And then the train started moving again. But not forward. It reversed. Slowly, at first. Then faster. I tried the emergency brake. Nothing. I pounded on the doors. They wouldn't open. And then I saw something that made my stomach drop. We were passing stations. Only they weren't any stations I'd ever seen. The signs were blank. The platforms crumbled. Statues stood in place of passengers. Concrete faces, all identical. Eyes closed. The lights flickered. Buzzed. And then went out. I think I slept. Or maybe I dreamed with my eyes open. When I came to, the train was stopped again. This time, the doors were open. A station. No name. Just the smell of dust and something older beneath it. I stepped out. I don't know why. The station was underground but vast. No signs. No maps. Just long hallways and staircases that bent at wrong angles. I heard whispers, but not in words. More like thoughts that didn't belong to me. Echoes of things I hadn't done yet. Regrets I hadn't earned. Memories I didn't remember making. I found a door. Faded green. Cracked paint. It opened into a small room. Inside, a mirror. And a man sitting in a chair. He looked exactly like me. Except he was older. Eyes sunken. Paler. He looked up and said, "Missed your stop." He pointed behind me. Where the door had been, there was now another hallway. Lit by a single bulb swinging from the ceiling. I walked it. Each step echoed like it was happening in someone else's shoes. At the end, another platform. And another train. I boarded. It was cleaner than the last. People were inside. But they didn't look at me. They all had clocks for faces. Some ticking. Some broken. One was spinning backward. I sat. No one spoke. The train moved. Outside, not tunnels now, but a landscape I didn't recognize. Fields of black grass. Towers without tops. A sky that looked like it had been painted, then scraped away. I counted the stops. 7. Each one emptier than the last. Until I was alone again. The intercom crackled. A voice, distorted, "Final stop." Doors open. A staircase. Stone. Worn. I climbed. At the top, a street I knew. My street. But wrong. The houses were the same. But the windows were all bricked up. The trees had no leaves. And in the sky, a train track. Suspended in the clouds. Endless. I turned to go back. But the station was gone. No stairs. No door. Just gravel. And the faint sound of wheels turning overhead. I walked the streets. Saw versions of myself in the windows. Some crying. Some asleep. One staring back. Not blinking. I don't think he knew I was there. Eventually, I found a bench. I sat. I waited. Another train passed above. Slower this time. I saw passengers inside. One of them looked at me. I knew that face. It was the man in the mirror. Only now. He looked relieved. The sky darkened. Streetlights buzzed. I checked my phone. Still 3:14 a.m. No matter how long I walked. Always 3:14. Eventually, I heard a horn. A train pulling in. But there was no station. Just tracks appearing from nowhere. A single car. The door opened. Empty inside. I stepped in. Sat down. The train moved. Forward this time. But slowly. Like it wasn't sure where to go. Like it was asking me. I looked out the window. Saw the world pass in reverse. Saw myself on that bench. Still waiting. Still hoping. Still stuck. As the train turned, I caught one last glimpse. Of the sky. Of the endless track. Of the clock on my phone, finally changing. 3:15. And I knew I was going to ride it forever. Through stops I'd already missed. Into places I hadn't imagined yet. Because sometimes, you don't dream of the train. Sometimes the train dreams of you. Story number 3. I was hired to catalog the belongings of a man who didn't exist. His name was Edgar Morrow, according to the envelope that arrived at my door. A simple letter, no return address, stamped with a name I'd never heard. Inside was a note. Mr. Morrow's estate awaits your inventory. The home is unlocked. You will be paid upon completion. No phone number. No instructions. Just an address scrawled in thick, wet ink. It was 2 towns over, a long stretch of road where the houses sat far apart and telephone poles leaned toward each other like they were sharing secrets. I arrived just before dusk. The house looked abandoned. 2 stories. Paint peeling like dried skin. Windows coated in dust. But the door was, as promised, unlocked. Inside, silence. Not empty. Just, expectant. Like the house was holding its breath. The first room was a library. Books floor to ceiling. No order. Titles I didn't recognize. Cartography of the mind. The water that remembers. Catalog of missing rooms. I opened one. The pages were blank until I touched them. Then, faint writing appeared, only a sentence. You've been here before. I moved to the next room. A dining area. Long table, set for 6. But all the plates were cracked. All the forks bent. And the candles burned without flames. Above the table, a mirror. Not reflecting the room, but showing a hallway I hadn't entered yet. In the reflection, something moved. Not me. Something slower. Taller. I turned. Nothing there. I kept cataloging. Each room stranger than the last. A nursery with a mobile of keys instead of stars. A bathroom where the tub was filled with black sand, still warm. A bedroom where the bed was nailed to the ceiling, sheets tucked in tight. And in every drawer, more letters. Each addressed to me. None dated. All written in the same hand. You forgot again. Check the closet. Don't trust the one in the photographs. There were photographs. Thousands. Every frame in the hallway filled with images of people with their faces scratched out. All except one. A man standing in a field. Back to the camera. And behind him, a doorway standing alone in the grass. The caption read, Edgar, just before. Before what? In the kitchen, the fridge was full of clocks. All ticking out of sync. All set to 3:14 a.m. On the wall, carved deep into the plaster, were the words. Inventory never ends. I started to feel watched. Not by the house. By myself. Reflections that didn't line up. Shadows that moved when I stood still. I found a basement door. It was padlocked, but the key was already in the lock. Inside, a staircase descending into darkness. At the bottom, a room filled with shelves. And on the shelves, boxes. Hundreds of them. Each labeled with a name. Some were common. Some were mine. And some were combinations of names I hadn't heard before, but felt familiar. I opened one. Inside, a single item. My watch. Still ticking. But I wasn't wearing it anymore. Every box I opened was filled with something of mine. A button from a jacket I lost in high school. A letter I never sent. A photograph from a vacation I haven't taken yet. All real. All here. I began to wonder if I was cataloging Edgar's estate, or my own. At the end of the basement was a door. On it, written in chalk. Final inventory. I opened it. Inside, a room with mirrors for walls. In the center, a chair. And sitting in it, me. Older. Eyes closed. Mouth moving. Whispering words I couldn't hear. Until I stepped closer. Then I understood. He was repeating names. Every version of me I could have been. The one who stayed. The one who left. The one who never opened the letter. I reached out. And he opened his eyes. I woke up in the car. Outside the house. No lights on. No sound. The letter still in my lap. Same ink. Same address. But this time, the name was different. Not Edgar Morrow. My name. Your estate awaits. The home is unlocked. Begin the inventory. And when I looked in the rearview mirror, I saw the house behind me. And someone at the window. Waving. Wearing my face. Story number 4. I don't remember applying for the job. But the letter said I'd been accepted. It was a thick, cream-colored envelope with an embossed return address, Office of Closed Records, Sublevel 6. No city. No zip code. Inside was a contract. And a key. Small. Black. Heavy for its size. Typed neatly below the signature line. Your shift begins at 12 a.m. Entry through door marked Records Intake B. Do not speak to the archivist. Do not use your real name. That was it. No salary listed. No benefits. No contact info. Just a job. And I accepted it. The building wasn't hard to find. It was hidden, sure, but not invisible. Downtown, between two larger office towers that leaned away from each other like they didn't want to touch it. Gray brick. No windows. No signage. But around midnight, a light flicked on behind a small metal door. Records Intake B. I used the key. It turned without resistance. The hallway inside smelled like old paper and cold stone. Sublevel 6 was not reachable by elevator. The stairs spiraled down, each level marked by a brass plaque and a different shade of paint. Floor 1 was green. Floor 2 was beige. Floor 3 was dark blue. By the time I reached floor 4, I felt like I'd left the city entirely. There was no sound from above. Only the clicking of fluorescent lights. And the soft hum of machines that hadn't existed in years. Sublevel 6 was marked in black. The plaque read, Closed Records, Temporal, Imaginary, and Disavowed Events. There was a desk. Empty. A clipboard sat on top with one name written, mine. Beside it, a note. Begin processing. Intake vault is pre-sorted. Do not rearrange files. The archivist observes. I found the vault. Huge room. No shelves, just cabinets. Dozens of them. Each one labeled by a category. Recurrent dreams. Imagined conversations. Alternate decisions. Locations that never existed. Inside each drawer, files. Neatly typed. Logged. But not paper. Film. Old reels. 16 millimeters. Each one labeled with a date, a time, and a name. My job was to log them. I watched the first reel. It showed a birthday party. Backyard. Red balloons. Children singing. But the shadows were wrong. They moved independently of the people. And one child, blurred, indistinct, never turned around. I marked it as incomplete projection. Likely false memory. The reel disintegrated in the return slot. The machine dinged. I was doing it right. Hours passed. Or seemed to. There were no clocks in sublevel 6. Only a bell that rang once when it was time to change sections. I moved to the next category, disavowed events. The files here were colder. Sharper. One reel showed a street I'd walked 100 times, but a building stood there that didn't exist. A bookstore. Warm light. My name on the awning. Inside, a version of me reading a letter I never wrote. When he looked up, he smiled. Like he recognized me. Like he was waiting. I logged it, temporal crossfade. Echo of abandoned timeline. After that, the files got stranger. One showed an office with no doors. People inside working at desks. Smiling. Laughing. Every 20 seconds, one would vanish. Just blink out of existence. No one reacted. When only one woman was left, she stood up, walked to the camera, and whispered. Please stop watching. The reel caught fire. I moved faster. Trying to keep up with intake. Each film heavier than the last. More vivid. More real. A wedding that never happened. A car crash that was avoided. A hallway that stretched for miles inside a house that should have been tiny. I began to feel watched. Not just by the archivist. But by the people in the films. Some started looking directly at me. Some spoke. Once, I swear one of them said my name. My real name. I stopped saying it. Even in my head. Just in case. After my first week, I received a new drawer. Unmarked. Inside, one reel. No label. When I played it, I saw myself. Here. In the vault. Watching the reel. And behind me, a figure. Tall. Thin. No face. But holding something. A clipboard. The archivist. I turned. No one there. But the clipboard on the desk had a new note. Good. You're remembering. I stopped going home. Or maybe I never did. The lines blurred. I slept in an office chair. Ate from vending machines that only dispensed index cards with food names written on them. Tuna melt. Orange juice. I never felt hungry again. The reels changed. Now, they showed dreams. Not mine. Others. But familiar. A train station made of mirrors. A city where no one aged. A motel with only one room that everyone checked into. One dream appeared again and again. A staircase going down forever. At the bottom, a door marked sublevel 7. There was no sublevel 7. Not on the maps. Not on the stairwell. But I saw the dream again. And again. Eventually, I dreamed it myself. And when I woke, there was a new door in the far wall. Black. No handle. Just a keyhole. And the key in my pocket. I opened it. Inside, darkness. But not empty. A room lined with screens. Dozens. Each showing a different person, at a different desk. Cataloging. Logging. Watching. And on one screen, me. Watching myself. And behind me, the archivist. He raised a hand. And pointed. Not at me. At you. The screen went black. And the room was gone. Now I'm back at the desk. The reels keep arriving. Some of them are about people I've never met. Some are about people I've forgotten. And some haven't happened yet. But they will. I can't leave. Because I don't remember where I worked before. Or if I worked at all. I think I've always been here. Or maybe this is just one of the reels. And someone else is watching me. Taking notes. Waiting for me to remember the rule I forgot. Do not speak to the archivist. Do not use your real name. Do not watch too closely. Because if you do, the job becomes yours.